Don't be stupid.
Why I have to die?
Go!
Why?
Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome to another spooky review for the month of Gorror. Ooh, scary, ooh. And I'm not gonna do another jump scare like I usually do, because at this point this is the 6th one, and I know it's really cheap, and usually in horror movies I don't really like doing those, I mean, I don't like when they do those very cheap jump scares, so for now on, for the rest of the reviews, I'm just not going to do them anymore because, again, like I said, they're very cheap. I got you. You didn't think I was going to do it. And I was saying I was going to do it, but I lied. I did it. Clever, right? I got you. I bet you're scared. So anyway, yeah, let's get into this review for Re-Animator, which is probably the oldest movie. Actually, it definitely is the oldest film I reviewed this year, all year I guess, but definitely this month. Re-Animator is a old film based on an H.P. Lovecraft story. It's about a man, an evil scientist, well, okay, maybe he's not that evil, but a mad scientist who figures out how to make a formula that reanimates the dead. But sometimes you maybe don't want to do that because they reanimate in weird ways. So anyway, let's talk about a classic film from the 80s, Re-Animator. The story for Re-Animator follows Herbert West, the mad scientist that comes up with this reanimation reagent that reanimates dead tissue, whatever it is, a piece of arm, a piece of toe, an ear, a head, whatever. It reanimates it and brings it back to life. And at first, it's not really, I wouldn't say successful, but it does work. It's just that it doesn't really work to the benefit of anybody, because when the corpse comes back to life, they're like really mad and angry and just like, they're just crazy. So of course he has to test it on a freshly dead corpse and maybe, you know, lower the dosage. So he gets kicked out of his medical school that he's in at first, so he has to go to a different medical school in the United States. So he goes there and he gets the help of a guy named Dan, played by Bruce Abbott, and he gets the help of him because he is he works at a medical school and he gets access to the morgue. So of course he gets his help to, you know, get some freshly dead corpses and whatnot. Of course there's a hot woman in there because, you know, and not in the morgue, thank God. No, in the film there's a hot woman in there because, you know, it's a horror film, so you need the sexy ladies. But of course there's you know, some situations, you know, some bad ones that happen. Of course it's not like, oh, they find the fresh body, oh, they brought the character back or the person back to life, yay, everything's happy now. Of course, no, it doesn't really work that well. There's a lot of blood, there's a lot of gore, there's a few situations that aren't the cleanest looking, and yeah, it's a film that I just love. I love this film. It's a classic horror film. It's a cult classic, but it's a classic in my book. It's one of those movies, if I want to see something really disgusting and really unnerving, just like really grotesque with its amazing practical effects, then I will watch this film, especially since it's actually really short. It's like a 85-minute film. I think that's the longest. I think that's after the credits. I think it's like maybe 85 minutes long. It's a lot of fun though, and what I really love, besides all the practical effects and stuff, is freaking Jeffrey Combs' performance as Herbert West, the mad scientist. He is, in my opinion, I mean, I love Frankenstein, I love all these movies with mad scientists, don't get me wrong. Okay, maybe not all of them, but you know, all the good ones. This film has my favorite mad scientist of all time, and that is Herbert West, played by Jeffrey Combs, who does an amazing job here. He is one of the most quotable characters in any horror film I've ever seen. He's so good in this. And not only that, is that he's really funny. He's a really funny character, really just dark humor. He doesn't really care much for anybody else. I mean, he's not really the villain of the film. There is actually a villain that pops up later who is also a very memorable villain. Really, really good. Very quotable as well. But I wouldn't say Herbert's the villain, but he's definitely not no hero in this film. He kills people. He makes jokes about recently dead people. He doesn't really care much for anybody. He's not the best. He's not a hero. Definitely not. I guess you could say Dan is more of the hero. But he is a really just, I'll say it, he's a likable character just because he's so funny and so just charismatic, and I love his character. I really do. He's a great character, and I love Jeffrey Combs. This is the movie that made me really realize how good of an actor he is, and it's sad that he doesn't really get that many roles. Like, once in a while you'll see him as like a special guest starring role in a horror movie that went straight to Sci-Fi Channel or something like that, but that's pretty much it. He's great in this though, and I really liked him. And you know what, the rest of the cast does a really good job too. You got Barbara Crampton in here, who is gorgeous in this film, and if you recently saw the movie You're Next, she was in that as well, and she was gorgeous in that film, and she's like freaking, what, like 50, 55 now? That woman looks good, old, I don't care, whatever. And she's great in this. She really is. Well, okay, she looks great in this. She's good in it as well. She's a good actress, you know? She's one of those few actresses that was in a lot of horror films where she's actually pretty good. Yeah, I would say she's a good actress. And a lot of the other supporting actors in here, I can't remember all of the names. I know the guy that played Dan's name is Bruce Abbott, who doesn't do many roles as well, but he's actually good in the film as well. Everybody does a great job in this film. I thought they all had a really either likable character, or they had some decent dialogue, or a funny scene, or a good villain role. I thought everybody did a great job here. But really, what really sold this film for me is both the special effects, all the practical effects, all the gore and the disgusting ooky stuff that reminded me a lot of The Thing in a way. This felt like a spiritual successor to The Thing. Or it felt like a David Cronenberg film, which it actually isn't, which is surprising. But that, and of course, I can't say any more about Jeffrey Combs. He really does make the film for me. I mean, the practical effects are amazing. They did a great job with that stuff. And even when there's not like guts and stuff like moving around and stuff, there's parts where just like when a person comes back to life and they're just like holding their head and their eyes are bleeding, they're just going ah, and they're just like screaming into the top of their lungs. That stuff is unnerving, disgusting as well. It's just really just like ugh, like all the blood coming out of their eyes. Like, what the hell is that? Is that their brain? Is their brain leaking through their eyes? I don't know. It's just like, ooh, it's disgusting. It's a really gross film, but it's a lot of fun. It's very funny, has a very dark sense of humor, likable characters, a great performance from Jeffrey Combs. If I could say anything, if there's any problem with this film, I don't really even have one, but I'm not going to give it a complete 40 out of 40. I don't really have any problems per se. Yeah, I really don't. Maybe the end could have been longer. There's a whole scene where it pretty much turns it kind of into a zombie film and stuff, where it could have been a little bit longer and showed a little bit more, but mostly because the reason why it wasn't longer is mostly, I would guess, because of budget concerns. But still, I'm going to give this a nice 38 out of a 40. This is a excellent horror film, a true classic. You gotta go watch this film. It's on Netflix right now. It is a movie that should be watched for Halloween. If you're gonna watch one horror movie this year, out of all the movies I've reviewed so far, I would recommend Re-Animator, definitely. So go check that out. Go check this out with a double feature of The Thing. That'll get you in a ooky gooky mood. So anyway, there you go. There's my review for Re-Animator. Thank you and goodbye.